Hey, what's happening, everyone? It's Michael Margolis here, Dean of Story University, the founder of Get Storied, and I want to talk to you guys about a concept which I call flirting with your bio story. Okay, so a lot of you guys know about this new program, The New About Me. All right, it's all about actually telling your own personal story in your bio, which is really important if you're an expert, if you're an author, a speaker, a coach, a consultant, entrepreneur, and so on. Right, your own personal really brand, your perceived value is directly linked to your personal story. So some people get really intimidated by this, and I understand. It's taken me a long time to become comfortable with showing up, with actually revealing myself to the world. I used to, seriously, there's nothing that scared me more than really putting my open kimono self out to the world. And I was recently coaching somebody through this process, and they were confessing with me sort of this fear that they had. And this was a really charming woman. And so we had this conversation. I was like, well, do you know how to flirt? Are you a good flirt? And she kind of, she kind of blushed, and she's like, oh, well, yeah, I know how to flirt. And I was like, well, the process of telling your personal story in many ways is like flirting. Okay, when you go on a date, all right, is it a winning strategy to tell the person that you're sitting next to, across from, that, I've got some pretty fancy clothes on here, and, I hang out with some pretty famous people. I'm kind of a big deal. I hope you realize. Okay. That doesn't really work in the dating game, does it? Well, guess what? The same principles apply when it comes to social media, networking, and personal branding. You want to flirt. How do you flirt? Well, number one is by being interested in the person you're in conversation with, and then making yourself interesting, right? It's about intriguing people, creating a sense of curiosity where people want to, they're like, wow, this person's got a point of view. Interesting. Wow, I want to get to know this person more, right? And it's coming to the table without expectation, but just being open to the relationship building process. So start thinking about this. How can you be a better flirt in your own personal branding and social media communications? Well, what are some things that you can do? Number one is, all right, come from a place of heart and love. Okay, none of us think it's very sexy when somebody's angry and cynical, right? You're like, dude, that person's kind of a jerk. Dude, that person's kind of scary. Okay, so you want to really talk about the things that you love, the things that light you up. Okay, that's what makes you interesting. The things you geek out on, the things you like to do on the weekends, the things that you like to spend your time figuring out. It's those little idiosyncrasies that ultimately we fall in love with. We go, wow, this person's a character. This person's really interesting. All right? So think about that. All right? It's a whole nother way of thinking about your own bio story, because a lot of you out there, I know, are good flirts. Okay, so bring that flirtatious energy into the mix. Invite people into the dance with who you are and who they are, and you'll be amazed at what you discover in return.